Say a thing. No, worse. Great. Everything's like 100.
What, in years?
Ah! I heard you that time. Okay, good. Where is everybody?
I think Max is on the way. Testing runs to be 3.
Yeah, I can hear you better. Yeah, maybe. Again, we'll need to ask the others.
No, it's coming through. So, how's that?
That's well better.
Yeah, it's the mic.
That's like 1,000,000 times better.
Let me just tell Davey we're in. What? I don't know how I did that with Max. We've literally been talking how we're planning next week. We're going to do an Irish special. So we'll have American, Scottish, and Irish.
Right. I genuinely thought he was just agreeing with everything we're talking about, and that's why we'd not heard input. He was just like, yes, I am fine with these things, you know? But no, he just wasn't part of the conversation at all.
Yeah. I kept looking at the names and going, oh, there's 3 names.
Yeah.
So, and I must have just, as I said, my brain's not in it. Let me read it.
You know you're going to have to make it up to him. You're going to have to send him a present.
Pretty much.
He deserves it. You f***ed his night, man.
You say that.
You've got him running to get on camera for this thing, and he wasn't even prepared. He didn't even know what was happening. You're a bad friend.
Bad. Very bad. Bad to the bone. Not alright.
Hey, how are you, Davey?
I'm not bad. Yourself, Jenny?
Good, darling. I'm good. I've got notes, facts and figures. Fuck these people.
Finished my notes for the day. I did my show earlier.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yep.
I am quite sorry, mainly to Max. About that. Oh, God.
Yeah.
We literally, just saying, Jenny, we've been talking about what we're doing next week. So we're having an Irish special next week. And how on earth was I talking to you about that and planning that already? And I hadn't mentioned what we're doing this week. I'm just like...
I feel like your partnership's on the rocks, man.
Well, I mean, David's probably going to be fun, but before I get him back in the fucking studio.
Oh. I keep hoping he's alright, like...
Find the wedge, and then you're gonna, like, step in and... That's such an evil laugh.
Such an evil plan, Jenny.
Shh. It's not supposed to be outed yet.
Yeah. You forgot you were dealing with me?
I still want to do mysteries. I keep coming across all these mysteries doing newspaper research, and I keep thinking, that's another one for this channel we've not yet done anything about, like...
Not the thing. I think I sent you one as well. This week I've had to read my brother's dissertation. I've had to set up a court case and file all the documentation. I've just finished the book, and I had to finish all the lessons. We saw Nazi Germany because the course doesn't have any of the material, but they have the topic on their course list, which I didn't know until December. They've shunted the exams forward by a month. So I'm then, which means I've got a month less of teaching, which means I've had to cut off all half term and Easter. It's just, like, honestly, like, you know how you feel like you're training more in general, and it builds up, and then hospital appointments, family injuries, and general trying to get YouTube up and running. So yeah, I hate to spill, because I know everyone else has got problems, and you've got this loony government, and you don't know who to vote for, with the SNP looking like it's a bit meh.
Actually, you're right.
What? What was that?
SNP, you're right.
Yeah, what?
SNP run the
I'm missing this. Like, you're just going to have to
No. No. What? No.
Yeah. You use
Okay,
the
cool.
URL as
Being hit by
different from the
propaganda.
VR.
Yeah, you're falling for your country's own mate.
So is that not the case?
No.
Consistent forward up here shows the SNP
Yeah.
40 to 57 seats.
Yeah. Someone ran like quite a big poll, and it was how many seats do you think Labour are going to get in Scotland at the next election? 20, 30 or 40? And the stream of laughing faces under in the comments. So you had to run another poll, making it lower, like 5 seats, 10 seats, and people were like, listen, if any, I'll go for 5 just because you've only given us that as a lowest option. But yeah, no.
There's so much shit going on.
You have to understand that Labour are firmly in bed with the Tories up here in councils across Scotland. They're only serving to scupper Scots at every angle, and we're not blind to it. Do you know what I mean? What you guys aren't seeing is that stuff. The fact that they might be in opposition down at Westminster. They are not in opposition up here. They're getting you to try and tactically vote for each other, and then they're forming coalitions in councils to do SNP out of their well-won places in councils so that they don't get a say in how that council's run anymore.
Well, recently, two councils applied to a Tory levelling up minister to bypass devolution and directly fund them to Labour councils.
Are you serious?
We don't trust the Tories or Labour. They're two cheeks of the same arse, so to speak.
Anyway, the last UK-wide super poll carried out by YouGov and the one carried out by Ipsos Mori for 18,000 people shows that the SNP are on track for 40 plus seats in Scotland.
Yeah.
So nothing's. They haven't invented it. Well, I know that I saw the polling for Brexit, for rejoining the EU. It's 70% of Scotland.
Yeah, you'd expect that. I'm kind of hoping that Dave's going to bring up the fact of what you were saying on your show a couple of days ago about how the European governments are being convinced into actually standing up for Scotland, and the fact that in combination with the fact that the SNP have said vote for us, and we are going to take that to us and say, listen, we do need a way out. Because once again we've been voted in as a majority government, and that combined with the countries in the European backing them on that bid and actually forcing Westminster in a kind of the same way as America were kind of holding Westminster to the Good Friday Agreement over Ireland. It would be the same kind of case where the European countries would be backing Scotland's bid to leave the Union, or at least convincing Westminster into giving us an avenue to that possibility.
But flesh on that for you, the European left group in the European Parliament at the conference 2 Saturdays ago. And one of the subjects at the conference was the denial of Scottish democracy and a route out for Scotland. And what they did was they voted to back Scotland having a route out of the UK because the UK is an asymmetric what they call an asymmetric democracy, and what they're going to do is, now that they've passed the motion to support Scotland leaving the UK, is to pressurise institutions and government bodies within the 27 countries to exert pressure on Westminster to give Scotland a route out. But would you think that
would be a huge foot up.
Scottish people to ransom or are denying the Scottish people their right to self-determination? I don't know if this one's going to end up in the ICJ along with the Israel-Palestine thing.
If they'd been savvy, if I'd been my Machiavellian, imagine an alternate universe where I was as Machiavellian, but I was evil Machiavellian.
That's an alternate universe?
What's that? Thank you.
We saw what you did to Max.
If it'd been me and I'd been in charge, then I didn't want you guys leaving. And I don't. I mean, genuinely, I wouldn't want you guys to leave. I love having Scotland connected.
We're not going anywhere. We're locked in a landmass together.
I love being in the EU and having France connected to us. The same level, sort of, of love. In fact, actually, we'll bring up something else with that. If I'd been in charge and Machiavellian, I would have had the referendum straight away. Because it was at a low point at that point for Scotland wanting to leave.
But this time we're talking about the 2017, we're talking about 2017 election, and by that time independence was running really high. By that time we left the European Union.
That lie had been well busted.
People were well pissed off.
Yeah.
It would have been a yes vote like that.
Because no one, because we were threatened with being pulled out of the EU. Then we're pulled out of the EU after voting no. That lie's busted. So the people are like, hang on a minute, we're out anyway, and our only route back in is to actually gain self-determination? F*** Westminster.
But as I say, when you look at it, I mean, if I go back to the Supreme Court ruling that the Scottish people were the oppressed, and that we had representation in the Westminster Parliament, where they get that idea from? Would you deny somebody the right to get self-determination? That's oppression.
Well, you do have representation. I'm going to play devil's advocate. You do have representation. I wouldn't say you're equal.
We have had the lowest representation within the British Union since the signing of the Union. And that comparison only became more stark after Ireland joined in 1801.
Well, I'm happy to agree with you. What I'm saying is, like,
I have notes.
It just falls on deaf ears. It's like, if you, like, no one wants the Tories in right now. But the way the system's set up, which is...
Seems like very few want Labour in either at the moment under Starmer, so... Rock in a hard place for you guys, really.
If you want to rejoin the EU, who do you vote for?
Not Starmer? He doesn't seem like he's super keen.
Well, then we've got to talk about London and races. Well, let's get on with this, otherwise we're going to run out of time, because David, you've got to go at 7:30, haven't you?
Yep, right.
So let's just run through everything. So we've got Trump, the Supreme Court ruling. About an hour ago, he's just said that he only wants to pay 20% of the 576 or 476 million, which you can't do. Like, in UK courts, you can pay in instalments. In the US, for fraud, you cannot pay in instalments, and he's trying to negotiate. Which is
that'll be a reason why he's got a share issue being issued at the moment, trying to raise 500 million quid.
No guarantors willing to back him.
He's troubled the 5 million that he had to raise for one of the other court cases, and he had to liquidate assets because he doesn't have any cash.
Well, I mean, he's selling $20 trainers for 400 quid, so
someone bought it for 9K.
He has a grift on the go, you know, like.
David, can I ask you to raise your camera just a little bit so we've got you more eye line? Might want to put a book underneath.
Yeah, it's got a nice wide line.
Well, because it's Scotland, we'll start with Scotland, Westminster, what Labour had done. It was really interesting hearing. I heard what everyone had done in terms of it. Whether or not they're all bullshitting, I don't. So I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on it. We've got racism and Lee Anderson. Sadiq Khan came out today on LBC and just said, you read those words as if it's Jewish, and it might as well be in 1930s Nazi Germany. He didn't say that, but he alluded to the idea of change the wording, and it sounds horrific what he's just said. And then that should be oh, you want to talk about Gove?
No, I would
Like he's that trouble.
Gove.
No, it's a slap in the wrist offence. It'd be interesting to hear your take on what happened last Wednesday.
Yeah. I heard Lisa and Andy's point of view. I heard the SNP's point of view. I heard, obviously didn't hear anything with Conservatives. Heard bits and pieces in the news about Lindsay Hoyle and his perspective. And I heard and I'm leaning towards this is definitely against the SNP.
No, I think somebody nothing to do with the SNP, apart from the fact that they were the first people putting the motion.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that's the whole missed the whole point. The amount of political commentators have missed the whole point. The whole point was to make sure that the term collective punishment of the Palestinian people by Israel did not get voted on in that parliament. The reason for that is because that meant they admitted to being complicit in war crimes and would have meant that they had to stand up by international law, by diplomatic aid to Israel, by financial aid to Israel, by sale of weapons to Israel, and military aid to Israel. That's what it was about. That's exactly what it was about. That's all it was
changing the wording, and then 100 Labour MPs said, if you push that through, we will not vote for it, and it will not go through. And that's where you then got this.
That was the idea. We were waiting to hide the fact that Stan was going to take a whack. Yet you told you to give a page if you take a whack.
With what?
The other thing was it would have looked bad if that Parliament had voted that motion with them. They would have.
And it would
But
have been
the
rebellion.
behind it was international relations and not admitting to being complicit in a war.
And then it makes me go, was Lindsay Hoyle doing this just so that something passed instead of nothing? And that then makes me go...
For exactly the reason the state did they want to give. We talk about a lot of money for the vast military industrial complex.
Yeah.
And then the reputation of the UK and America made on national stage. When if Westminster admitted being complicit in war crimes, that would implicate the USA as well.
Well, we already know that both the UK and the US have committed war crimes under UN regulations.
Yes, so what we do know is it couldn't be admitted.
Alright, let's go with this then. Because it's already 6:32.
Okay, but wait a minute. You didn't let me say. I want to switch. We're not talking about Gove, right? Okay. But there is a Labour MSP, Paul Sweeney. I sent you the video where he is like once again touting that myth that Scotland only exists because it's subsidised by Westminster. I have numbers, old numbers, but things haven't got better.
How many barrels of oil do you think you guys have pulled out, and what percentage of that is it for the UK?
I would respond to that with, why does it matter? We have wind farms up the kazoo, we've got tidal, we've got plenty of other resources.
There's two things to that. There's if you look at what Norway did, and then they used it for the Southern Wealth Fund.
Yeah.
And then
that was a risk well taken up by them, like.
And I mean, they just land. You might also be rich, more than people realise.
We're richer than Scots realise, and I've got figures.
But have you heard of the black phosphorus rock they found in Norway?
What about the black phosphorus?
I think it's called black phosphorus rock they found in Norway. It's for making solar panels.
Okay.
Have you heard about this? It's doubled the amount globally, and you guys are on the same panel with very similar mountainous regions.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that no one's bloody looked for this type of rock that's used for solar panels.
So we have huge amounts of ore that's been got at over the century, and it's just been put by the wayside because state affairs have progressed to the point where we don't need to go after these things as much, or it's not as. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty still out there in Scotland for sure. Like,
because it makes you wonder. I mean, this stuff is literally laying on the landscape. So how on earth did Norwegians miss this for decades? And it also means they've now taken their oil and put it into a sovereign wealth fund. They're going to be able to do the exact same thing with this. Yeah. And that's why I think those barrels of oil are quite important historically, because I think we could have all benefited from it.
I mean, if we can salvage 10 barrels to sell, I'm on board with that. Do you know what I mean? If we can take ownership of a whole 10 barrels from Westminster, I'm on board. Like, I'm not bothered about the amount of oil. I believe there's still plenty there that we could make use of, you know. Like.
Then we're talking about using oil and gas. Do we want to do that? Probably not.
Again, we all the options are going to be ours to take. We just need the self-determination to be able to actually make moves on it.
Don't go. We love you.
Off. We're not going anywhere. We're not only going to be 5,000 miles away from each other. We're still going to be a hop, skip and jump over a border. We're landlocked. We're stuck. Like, not going anywhere. The economics of the thing, the union economics of the thing, that doesn't matter. And what you find is the only arguments that you get, because there are no good arguments for the union, are arguments like yours that are based purely in emotion. It's emotional arguments of, oh, but we're friends and family, don't leave. It's like, that doesn't help us economically. Like,
no, but well, then I'll bring up what
we're still going to be friends and family. We're still going to be right across the border. We're not going to suddenly be miles away. Like,
really, so I would bring up what I did a tour of Europe. Where I interviewed people about how they felt about the UK leaving the EU. I did the exact same thing. Yeah, but it's emotional, and emotional arguments aren't relevant to any actual serious discourse in my mind. No.
No, I'm serious.
I'm more than happy to debate that. Like, that I get why, and I'm not against it. I'm just saying I prefer it not to happen.
It doesn't.
I've got an emotional feeling.
I'm sorry, but again, we go back to the economics and the facts of the thing, and just there's no disputing Scotland is going to be better off with full self-determination. Again, being able to do for itself, not having to take what's given, not being devolved powers that are in threat of being withdrawn at any given moment if we misuse them in Westminster's mind. We can only be better off. So you can... I will listen to all the emotional arguments, but none of them are going to sway me on that, you know?
No, I wouldn't expect them to. You can instantly just go with the factual.
Yeah.
I still have my emotional stuff.
Of course. But we will still be friends and family and colleagues, and we're still going to be working and interacting with each other. Literally nothing is going to change beyond the economics of the thing, you know? Stop. I thought you had already started.
No. Okay, are we all ready?
For goodness sake.
3. Come on.
Recording in progress.
It's because Max isn't here. I'm convinced of it.
That's going on at the end. Welcome everyone to the Sunday Roast. We're doing a Scottish special. Hello Scots. Can you all introduce yourselves to the audience, just in case they don't know who you are? Random Scottish history.